You know, sometimes you come across information that's so good you want to make sure that everybody has a chance to see it. Hi again, everybody. I'm Lary Sorensen, a former Major League All-Star, and this is a conversation I had with Chris Fetter when he was the pitching coach at the University of Michigan, now, of course, with the Detroit Tigers. We cover a number of different topics, starting with pitch selection.
So we want to know our strengths, all right? You hear a lot of people say pitch to your strengths, but we want to know our strengths. But at the same time, that's only like 50% of the equation. And we also want to know the hitters that we're facing, their weaknesses, and kind of marry those two and hopefully come up with the biggest margin of error. And I think, so yeah, our strength may be, a certain location with a certain pitch, but that may be his strength as well. And so sometimes, that's where we'll tend to just stick with ours and just trust that what we can do. But, a lot of time we're just trying to find, if it's not our primary pitch, maybe it's our secondary pitches, where we can find an area that is their weakness that we can put pitches into.
Will you ever make pitcher decisions based on knowing, okay, we've seen this hitter, we know he doesn't catch up well to something, we know our guy does that well?
I would say at this point, we have our starters that we want to go deep in the game. I don't think we have the depth of the bullpen just to do like that kind of a scenario just yet. I think we tend to go more towards strikes and, makeup and all those kind of things when we're looking deeper in the game. But hopefully we get to the point where we can start matching up like that.
And the difference between pro game and college game, except with the pro game going to the 3-hitter rule, that changed that whole formula.
Right, exactly.
Which is interesting. Do you recruit at all to types of pitchers? And now that you've got the information and do you recruit that way, saying I need a high arm slot left-hander or?
Yeah, I think now that the information is out there more readily available, I think people are starting to recognize and make decisions on guys a lot quicker. I would say I don't necessarily think about the higher slots. There are sometimes where you'll go out and see like maybe some side armors or some funky slot deals that maybe you'll give those guys a little bit more of a look. But yeah, I don't sit there and think, man, I need to go out there and find a high lefty, or it's more so, how does this all fit into our current recruiting structure and makeup of our class? We want a certain amount of lefties, a certain amount of righties. But, if there is a lot of variance, that'd be great, but it's not a big priority.
And a lot of it still comes down to that gut trust feel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And maybe the pro game's getting away from that a little bit as we're starting to see everything just based on numbers more. But
no, I think you're starting to see in the pro game the valuing of release points. That's the big one, because then you can really manipulate how the ball crosses the plate and that vertical approach angle at the plate.
Okay. I actually had a question when I mentioned to one of the guys that does some stuff with us, and he was wondering about how arm slot affects the pitching repertoire. Because he said he's got a guy that wants to throw a slider, but he's got a really, really high arm slot.
Yep.
And he said he can't get him to throw a slider out of there.
Well, that's where it gets kind of tricky. So I think a lot of people are getting more accustomed to the movement profiles that, whether it be pitchLogic, TrackMan, Rapsodo, Yakutech, all these things are putting out in terms of the movement of vertical and horizontal. I think people still don't quite grasp. It's great to understand what the ball is doing out of hand, but the arm slot dictates the angle at which the ball crosses the plate. And, everyone's talking about attack angle and launch angle and all this stuff with hitters. The average attack angle of batter in college baseball is between like 7 to 12 degrees going upwards, right? Mm-hmm. And, the guys that are throwing from a 6.5, 7 foot arm release height, if they're throwing to the bottom of the zone, that's perfectly at, between 7 to 9. So it's perfectly mirrors the bat path of most average hitters. And so we used to talk about downhill angle. Oh, that guy's got a great downhill angle. It looks beautiful out of the hand. And, but actually he's throwing right into the bats that now how we're teaching hitters.
Right.
So he's going to have to do something elite, whether it be velocity or extreme movement or something, because right now it's playing right into the bat path. And you get those low slot guys that look like it's almost pushing it, a la like a Walker Buehler the other night. So the reason why he's so effective is not just because, yeah, he throws hard and, yeah, he spins the ball well and, yeah, he has good movement behind it. But, you know, from that release point to where it ends up, it's like at a, you know, 3 or 4 degree angle when it reaches the plate, which completely beats bats when they're usually on that 10 to 14 range. So that's where the release point is becoming a huge factor. So your example of the guy that couldn't say that lefty could throw the slider. Well, actually, he probably throws a decent one, even if it doesn't move a whole lot, just because of the angle at the plate is greater than, you know, -10.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. What do we call, and I know Rankin knows this, but the angle of approach for the ball, you know?
Yeah, that's a vertical approach angle at the plate.
Vertical approach angle.
Yeah, vertical approach angle.
Okay, from the pitcher's side.
Yep.
All right. We're getting ready to release our new app probably this week, probably in a couple of days.
Awesome.
So, you know, keep an eye out on social media, and however you want to handle that, what you want to see, what we're putting out there, we can get on a Zoom call if you like, or you tell me what you want to do and how your time is.
Yeah, I still think I want to see if that. I know you guys are working on the long toss component of it. I would love to see that component of it.
Yeah. How much do you guys do any type of long toss indoors?
We do, and that's also why it would be valuable to help the guys understand what angle and what effort level equates to what when they do go outside.
I think that's going to be one of the really significant things that we do really well is you can throw it 20 feet into a high net and get all the projected measurements for what it's going to do.
Larry, that would be a separator.
Well,
because especially for all these northern programs that tell their kids, hey, do your long toss into a net because you're going to be at home for 2 months and you may have a basketball court to throw in.
Yeah.
Like I think that if you can simulate that, that'd be outstanding.
It's going to be fun stuff. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of doing the comparison of I had a feeling inside my heart what I knew was going to miss his bat with the next pitch, you know?
Right.
And I was sold on the fact that that's what I wanted to do. And what I'm trying to find out is the game changing so that we're just, you know, taking that element out of it some.
Yeah, that's where, you know, as a coach at the college level, I'm able to call the pitches for the guys, correct? And so, you know, I would rather go down with them being convicted with it, and you want to have that conviction behind it. So I think at the major league level, yeah, they're giving suggestions, but at the end of the day, it's not a coach calling it. So hopefully you have that same confidence and conviction in a pitch where he has that feeling as it leaves his hand, and he's not just pitching to the scouting report, you know, or having that be his thought process.
Well, and so you actually have to get inside his head a little bit and know his stuff probably better than he does in reality.
Yeah.
But you've still got to think with him a little bit as to what he's going to feel best pit throwing.
No question. But at the same time, I give them free rein to shake me off whenever they want. And so, yeah, I just think that's a key component of, you know, having the trust of your pitchers so they don't have any excuses. Yeah. You know, do I want them to do it all the time? Absolutely not. But if there's a certain moment where they feel good about a certain pitch and, you know, they're convicted in that pitch, I would rather them do that than just throw mine up there half-heartedly.
Yeah, absolutely right. And good for you, though, to give them that free rein to have the ability to shake. What about your catcher? Does he get entered into the equation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, from the dugout, we can't see, like, you can watch what they've done up in video up to a certain point, but you don't know, like, box adjustments and, you know, are they changing when they get to 2 strikes or stride direction? You know, things throughout an outing where let him read it. And we have one this year, a couple new grad transfers that are 5th years that are going to be really helpful. They get it at a higher level than I think we've ever had. So it's going to be fun to watch them behind the plate. Good.
I want to circle back just for 1 second to the arm slot again, because we went back and we took a look at the All-Star game that I pitched in.
Yep.
And realized kind of that my arm slot was more too
215, 230, which I thought was really odd because I always thought to myself, get on top so I can turn it over.
Yep.
And I didn't.
Yep.
That might have been what I was telling myself, but it wasn't what I was doing.
There's so many of those mental cues that we have that it doesn't really match up. Yeah, no, I understand completely.
It's kind of that A-Rod swing down on the ball.
Exactly.
I guess. And if that's what it takes to get you to do it, to execute properly, for each individual, I guess that's what works.
That's the art of coaching, is trying to figure out what, they're feeling or helping to say something that they could feel. But, a lot of times what we're saying and what they're saying they're doing is not right at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But each guy feels it a certain way, so.
Boy, I love it when I learn some baseball from a really good coach. And Chris Fetter of the Detroit Tigers is a really good coach. Thanks for joining us today. There's more interviews at pitchlogic.com. Check out the blog section. Learn a little bit more baseball. Have a great day.